Yes.
Yes, I can.
All right, now we'll load. All right, awesome. So, hey everyone, thanks so much for joining. We'll wait for two. I know folks will be trickling in. We're really excited to be here today, and we really appreciate everyone jumping on for our Chicago kick geared event for our Community Experience Cloud. So this is kicked off and created by our Chicago team. We'll do introductions in a minute, but again, per usual, thank you for joining. I know with work from remote or just the craziness of the world right now, we really appreciate the time today and the opportunity to showcase what we will. It's going to be a great conversation. So just thank you for being a Salesforce partner or interested in Salesforce and the time today. Just to quickly go through the agenda, Dan, our regional vice president, will kick off with introductions in a minute here. Then we're really going to dive into what is Communities or Experience Cloud? Like, what is brass tacks? What does this tool do? What is the overview? And then I know in the financial services industry, we have quite a few folks from the insurance world, Fintech, private equity. We'll dive into specific use cases for that as well. Then we'll go into a live product demonstration where Jordan, our solution engineer, will showcase the tool. And then we'll talk about how to actually get started with Gil, our partner at IMG, on how he's brought this vision to life. If you have any questions throughout, please feel free to ask away, go on mute, or you can ask the questions in the chat box here, and Connor will be collecting those and addressing them at the end. All right, Dan, if you want to take it away for a moment.
Yeah, Kat, thank you. And before we introduce who is with you today from the Salesforce side, I'll double down on what Kat said about thanking everybody on this call for your time. We certainly appreciate you folks being Salesforce customers or prospective customers. We understand that you put a lot of time and energy not only into your day-to-day, but also into the relationship that you have with us, and we greatly appreciate it. We're very much looking forward to making sure that the next 42 minutes of your time, 52 minutes of your time is a very good use of it. So thank you. On the call today, you've got Kat Pappas, Dylan Burke, Connor Shields, who are all account executives, who are basically your point people on the account. So any questions that you do have as a result of this session here today, please make sure that you reach out to them directly after the fact if you don't ask a question in the chat. We've also got Gil Lantini, who is the co-founder of IMG, an amazing partner of ours that does a lot of projects with our current and prospective customers. Looking forward to hearing from him later on. And then we have Jordan Pepping from our solutions engineering team. Very excited to see the proof of concept that Jordan has put together. She is our Communities/Experience Cloud ninja. So we're excited to have her. I'm Dan Sabella. I'm one of our regional vice presidents here at Salesforce. And the reason we're focusing this event on the Communities/Experience Cloud is the power that this technology brings to extend what you're so used to from the Salesforce platform. I'm sure many of you on this call enjoy a lot of the functionality from an internal perspective, CRM functionality, lead, contact, account management, opportunity management. You now have the ability with Communities, the Experience Cloud, to extend that power to partners, to your own clients and your own customers. And given the work from home and the remote lifestyle that we're living in right now, a lot of customers have come to us wanting to have this conversation as they see this time as an opportunity to reimagine the client or partner experience. They're trying to think differently about the technology, the websites, the functionality that they are extending to their clients or to their partners to differentiate themselves from the competition. So enough from me. Just a quick thank you again for your time, and very much looking forward to the next hour with you folks.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. All right, Dylan.
Hey, everyone. This is Dylan. As Dan mentioned, I am an account executive, and just really wanted to kind of set the stage. And so what we're seeing is that the global pandemic has really disrupted businesses in many ways. Companies are now fighting harder than ever to provide a world-class customer experience while working on smaller budgets. And the companies that are winning the race to satisfy customers are doing so by accelerating digitization in a socially distanced world. They understand that their customers increasingly prefer self-service and online engagement. The modern customer expects their interactions to always be on demand, frictionless, easy to access, and highly personalized. When we think of digital interactions, we're not just talking about browsing a website. What we're talking about is accessing account details online, tracking performance in an app, getting answers in a help center, making purchases, online education, and talking to peers and experts on a forum. Now I'll pass it over to Kat to talk through how this is being applied in the financial services space.
Kat, you might be on mute.
Hi, classic, right? All right, thanks everyone. So one of the biggest things and takeaways from when we were thinking about this event was, yes, we work in financial services, but that means a lot in terms of sub-industries we work with. We really wanted to make this as relevant as possible for every single person on this call, and make sure we're touching on the sub-industries. So while I'm about to go through some specific sub-industry use cases that's speaking to everyone, what Jordan will show you will be a tailored demo and experience that shows a very high level here. So keep that in mind. If you have questions in regards to your specific industry, either write them in the chat box or reach out to one of your account executives here. So here we go. So for FinTech, it's pretty straightforward. I have a few customers here who use the Community Experience Cloud for their own customers to either check on their subscriptions or services. Customers can actually log and submit tech tickets, which I'm sure if you're a Salesforce customer, you've also logged a ticket with our tech team. Similar name of the game here. They can actually log tickets with your team can see the status. And then for client onboarding and channel partners, if you all are in the B2B side of the business and you have different partners that impact the business that need access to opportunities or different deals in the pipeline, you're essentially exposing and sharing access with those partners so everyone's working off of one single source of truth. For insurance, I know a lot of our customers have 1099 or contract employees, but it's important to see what policies are in the pipeline, or again, giving them limited access to make sure you can see your full book of business. That's one of the use cases here for Experience Cloud. For client onboarding, if folks need to upload files for a different policy, if they need to make updates, hey, I just got married or I'm expecting a child, again, using the community to expose that information so that you're not duplicating efforts on your end is one of the common use cases. And then finally, of course, in the insurance brokerage world, if I am a business owner, but I have a broker in Chicago, Los Angeles, being able to understand, hey, what is this broker bringing to me this month, this week, next week? Again, exposing the opportunity or policies that you have in the pipeline, but making sure you're working off of one source of truth. Let's talk about wealth management. So again, everyone wants to see the latest at their fingertips. What we're seeing within the wealth space really dives into the client portal side and client onboarding. Same thing here, checklists. I need to upload my W-2s, or I need to give you some of my financial information for my husband or wife. Those are different use cases for the client portal. And then similar for external teams, we work with a lot of folks who might have an underwriting or a clearing or a trading team, but they need to see the same information on the customer. Centering around the one source of truth, we have folks in the wealth industry using portal access for that. And then finally, if we think about private equity, venture capitalists, or even folks in the commercial real estate space, exposing different logins or different dashboards for LPs, limited partners. Hey, I think I contributed 5%, but I don't know the update. Is there a status on my application? Giving brokers or investors access to what you're seeing in your own Salesforce opens up a whole new world of opportunity to mitigate duplicate efforts. And then same with external access. So I have a customer who works more on the mergers and acquisitions side of the house, but there are other businesses that are working on the same deal, exposing that information. Again, same thing, having one source of truth and everyone working off of the same opportunity or deal is ultimately increasing operational efficiencies, and people are able to take on more work and more deals within the same amount of time. I definitely don't want to steal the thunder from Jordan, who is amazing and is going to actually dive into the tool now. But again, any specific sub-industry use questions that might come up, please feel free to put them in the chat or ask your account executive. And Jordan, I will hand it to you.
Wonderful. Okay, I think you'll need to mute because I can hear myself.
Perfect.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Can everyone hear me?
I can.
You can hear me? And can you see my screen? You should be able to see Cumulus Financial.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
Wait, Jordan, I think we lost
Thank
you.
you. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Kat, Dylan, and Dan for walking us through a bit of the why behind why we're talking about Experience Cloud today. I'd personally like to thank everybody who's joining this call and watching the recording. My name is Jordan Pepping. I'm a solutions engineer here at Salesforce, aligned to financial services. So being in this space, I'm really privy to a lot of the recent changes that have been happening that Dylan had mentioned in the financial services space, and seeing how our customers like you all are taking advantage of not only sales services and financial services clouds, but using them in tandem with Experience Cloud, which you might hear us say Community Cloud. Before we sent out this email out, we actually had a name change in between. So now it's called Experience Cloud. So apologies in advance if you hear both names. But whether you all decide to call it a portal, a help forum, or a support site, maybe just an online community in general, it's really a great way to connect with your customers, connect with your partners, or maybe your 1099 employees. And as you can with Salesforce Clouds now, everything you're going to see today is configurable. It can be customized really to meet your needs and the needs of your community users. So keep that in mind. It's just an example. And your users can also access a community on their mobile devices. So it is a mobile responsive design, whether that's via app or mobile browser. But today we're going to be demonstrating through the desktop version. And now, whenever I do demos, I do like to take on personas. And the reason for this is that it allows you all to look at Salesforce, or in this instance, Experience Cloud, from the perspective of a user. So today we're going to focus on two different examples of how we might leverage Experience Cloud, both from a customer point of view and a partner point of view. One of the #1 complaints we get from our customers, and I know all of the account executives on the call can speak to this, is that your sales teams and your service teams are spending way too much time on easily answered, non-sales related inquiries. And a natural question that comes out of that is, how can we give more time back to our employees without losing that white glove service that our customers constantly ask for? And I want everyone to keep that question in their head as we go through our first persona. And that first persona is going to be Rachel Morris, who is a customer of the fictitious company Cumulus Financial, which we see here on the screen. And Rachel's been a longtime customer of Cumulus. She uses them for many of her financial servicing needs. They're super great and offer so many services. So we're going to take a peek into how Customer Portal can encourage customers like Rachel to self-service and acting as the first line of defense when getting answers to inquiries and really putting time back into the days of your employees. And that's really what the goal here is with the Customer Portal. So we're going to put on the Rachel, the customer hat. I log into my Cumulus Financial Portal, which can be integrated into existing websites you have now. And this is my window into Cumulus's Salesforce org. And right from this homepage, I've got direct access into business processes, such as here I can schedule an appointment with Justin, who happens to be my relationship banker. He could be my advisor. He could be my account executive or my account manager. So continuing to create that fine line of white glove service and making yourself still available, even if we are still at home and our brick and mortars are closed. On the right-hand side, we can see some other actions that Rachel can take, which is submitting a case. I could request a quote, maybe file a claim. Really unveiling these processes, I've got the power to take action on my own for things that used to only be available to internal Cumulus employees. So I'm sure a lot of your current employees do these tasks on a daily basis for your customers. Surfacing up on the portal makes these high volume and more repetitive processes available to customers in order to free up that time for your sales and service people to focus more on complex customer issues and more sales related activities. And because self-service is the name of the game and what's really important is how we're going to save employees time in their day, this is a great example of that, is surfacing those processes. If I keep scrolling down, I can see my account summary. Like I mentioned, I've got a lot of different services that I use Cumulus for. I can see what products I have with them or what accounts I have with them. And if I wanted to dive into each account or object or product individually, I could. And it would take me to an object page, much like you have in your current Salesforce instances. Over here on the right-hand side, we can see embedded content, which helps educate me as a customer how to get the most out of my services, maybe advertising a webinar that's coming up. And above that, with artificial intelligence, helpful tips and suggestions are provided to me as a customer based off of my account information or based off of my products that I currently have, or maybe where I am in the customer life cycle. So we really have all of these resources just from the homepage. But again, going back to questions, let's say I have a question regarding, let's say, bill pay. By observing the home screen, I notice I have quite a few possible options in terms of getting the answers to my questions. The first being the almighty search bar. Who doesn't love a search bar? Can definitely type in my question there and hit search. I've also got a contact support button, which would take me to a page where I can submit a case. Or with the use of digital engagement down below, I can chat with an expert live and in real time. And this connects me directly either with a chatbot or directly with a Cumulus, maybe service agent or salesperson who is also using Salesforce. And that allows them to field my chat and questions with full context of my customer record. Because if I go ahead and hit the chat, it'll eventually pop up. I confirm who I am, and my account will pop up for them so they can get a better understanding of how they should be servicing me, or maybe what products I might have questions about. Given my question isn't super urgent, I'm going to go ahead and click Contact Support. Here it takes me to a case submission page. I am going to ask about bill pay. And as I type into the subject line, you probably noticed on the right-hand side in real time, I've got relevant knowledge articles that are displayed, really encouraging me to troubleshoot on my own. And here, I'm sure that video will load in a second, based even on your websites right now. But let's say I'm an insurance customer and I want to add my teenage child to my policy. Embedded artificial intelligence, again, is serving up relevant suggestions over here on the right-hand side directly into my self-service experience. So creating upsell and cross-sell opportunities that are actionable right from the community. So with the power of these articles and the AI-powered suggestions, I'm able to find answers to my questions about adding a teenager or about bill pay, inevitably removing the need to submit a case and saving Cumulus employees time, giving them time back in their day, and also possibly making a quick sale because it can add that teenage driver right from the community itself. Although I didn't submit a case this time, I have in the past. So I want to check on where my previous cases are currently sitting. So I'm going to click into my service needs. This takes me to an overview page of my previously submitted cases. all the information, a quick glimpse. I can see what my cases were about, where I submitted them. So maybe if I called one in, I'd submitted all these to the website. Also, what the current status is of my cases, all just from this one screen. But I want to go ahead and dive into one of my cases. As an example, I'm sure this page is very familiar to all of you, if not using cases, very familiar as an object page. But before I was using the community portal, I had no way to view case progress without actually having to reach out to a Cumulus person directly. Here, I've got everything I need to better understand where my case is and being solved. Maybe I can chat with an internal Cumulus employee here, giving them more context. But one thing I do want to note, coming out of character for a second, you probably see a lot of fields on here and a lot of different actions that you might not want to allow your customers to have access to. And just like permissions and visibility restrictions that you are using within your own Salesforce instance, there's complete flexibility here. So if you want to hide chatter over here on the side, or you want to hide certain account types or the ability to edit case details, there is complete flexibility there. You can do that accordingly. So now that we've kind of dove into that, I want to go back and refer back to that question I brought up in the very beginning. How can we give more time back to our sales and service teams without losing that white glove service? So we just saw through knowledge-based articles and AI populated suggestions, I was able to provide an easy self-service environment to Rachel as a customer to help her find her own answers and decreasing those service requests coming through to the service team so they can focus on more complex issues. And putting processes like scheduling an appointment or submitting a case or requesting a quote or filing a claim, putting those in the hands of customers will increase customer satisfaction because, like the slide Dylan showed, 81% of customers prefer self-service. So increasing that customer satisfaction and decreasing the calls and emails that the Cumulus team gets on a daily basis. So I hope this briefly demonstrated how a customer portal can help you visualize how your sales and service teams might get a couple hours back in their days. It's really about giving your customers access to your Salesforce data so they can act upon it, gain access to it, even edit their account information, and really giving time back. So think about what would your sales and service people do with that time? How many more deals could they close? How many more existential, high-level questions could they be answering? So I want you to take that food for thought. Before we conclude, I want to move over to partners. So we talked about partners being one of the options that we can help service those 1099 extensions of our sales team. And as channel managers out there, your partners, managing your partners, if they have data held somewhere else, or they're keeping all their contact information elsewhere of their customers, and you have your information in Salesforce, having that live in different systems, obviously productivity stalls. And that's really against what Salesforce stands for. We want to centralize all that data and make sure everyone's using the same data and working with the same information. So obviously our customers ask, how can we give our 1099 employees or extension of our sales teams, our partners, access to our Salesforce data without giving them access to our entire org? Many people ask, do I have to buy them a full Salesforce license? This is a great example of an alternative because by using Experience Cloud, you can extend that power of Salesforce and data knowledge sharing to your partners. So 1099 employees or external parties, really giving them access to sales-related objects like leads, opportunities, and dashboards, making them a true extension of your internal sales team. So whether those people are called resellers, broker-dealers, channel partners, whoever they are, the portal will really serve as the same purpose across the board. And that's going to be to drive productivity of these individuals, to provide data transparency, and to drive their growth in sales. And this partner instance we're about to dive into, we're going to be taking on the persona of Justin, who is a partner of Cumulus Financial. And Justin's goal, as many partners would be, is to become one of Cumulus's biggest revenue driving partners. So I want to start out by logging into my Cumulus partner portal. Obviously, you've been seeing this screen for a bit. So the homepage has really been designed here to drive productivity, which is one of those main key factors. And as a partner, that's really important. And Cumulus has provided onboarding here. We've got action plans or a list of onboarding materials to get me up to speed as a partner super quickly. Maybe it's documents of best practices, enablements, links to Trailhead, anything like that. Materials given to me to help me be successful as one of their partners. If we move over next to our onboarding materials, we've got more of those workflows and processes that we uncovered for our customer. I've got here. I can schedule an appointment maybe with somebody internally if I need to connect with them on how my sales are doing. I can submit a service request, whether that be on behalf of myself or maybe on behalf of one of my customers, and other financial industry related processes that we might not see here but could include quote creation or application submission or filing a claim. So you're really not limited as to what workflows and processes you can bubble up to the community. If I keep scrolling, I've got latest insights and strategies, and I've got access here to product resources, marketing collateral to really help me think about other ways to engage and improve my customer outreach, get more leads, really giving me the tools to be that best partner that I can be. If I keep scrolling down, I've got events and recommendations, which are really tailored to me based off of maybe where I am in the industry or what part of the country I'm in or the customers that I serve. So helping me, again, drive my business forward, giving me those resources, making them available to me. But out of my entire home screen, as any salesperson would be, one of my favorite parts of the screen is my book of business. So I'm going to dive into my book of business. And here I can sell smarter with shared dashboards. And that's a really big game changer for a partner community, is the ability to see how I'm doing with real-time key metrics that are shared with you in your own Salesforce instance. I can drill into my book of business, see how I'm doing, my lead conversion rate, maybe policies, if I'm insurance, policies that are up for renewal, get a better understanding of my pipeline. If I'm competitive with my other partners, I can see how they're doing versus how I'm doing. Again, all the same information that you would see within Salesforce instance as an employee. Cumulus is always keeping me and the rest of the partners the competition fierce. So they have these really great incentives. On the right-hand side, I want to win a pair of Apple AirPods. Hopefully they're the new Pros. Really keeping partners hungry to sell more and be more eager to be number one partner, and sharing that insight, sharing webinars, sharing things, resources to get people hungry and wanting to sell more. Obviously, I want to dive into all of this great content, and I want to dive into my leads because that's where the business really starts. So this is probably a very familiar page. Within the community, I can access and track leads, lead details with the same ease and effectiveness as somebody on the Cumulus sales team. And by using the Kanban view, it makes it even easier for me to move leads to different spots within the sales pipeline in order to get them closer to converting to opportunities. So as I move them through, easy drag and drop, and makes it super simple for me to move things over. Speaking of opportunities, because that's where the money is, I want to check and see where in the sales pipeline my current opportunities are sitting. So by clicking on the submissions page, I am taken to my opportunities, and I can see my active submissions, as well as I've created a list called renewals. So slicing and dicing those long lists of opportunities that we have down to really help me stay on top of my business. And this is, again, the same type of information you can see on the back end within Salesforce. So before the partner portal, as a partner, I'd have to nag and reach out to Cumulus team in order to get updates on my opportunities. Say, hey, where is this? Where is this? What's the update? Have you talked to them, etc.? But now I've got complete transparency into where they stand, maybe how much they are, or what the conversation currently is. And diving into one of those customer account pages, because we're sharing that data. So I'm going to dive into Silva Industries. And right from this account page, I've got that same 360 view of Silva Industries as a customer. I'm alerted to business milestones. It looks like just today they purchased a new property, maybe for their new headquarters. Great time in real estate. And I can see upcoming renewals that are happening, policies and claims that maybe they currently have. Any of that data can be shared with me as a partner, so we're all on the same page. Again, going back to that AI, embedded artificial intelligence on the right-hand side, is providing me relevant suggestions directly inside of my partner experience. So again, creating upsell and cross-sell opportunities or next best actions to really help me move that account forward or move that opportunity that I have forward. And if I get stuck or I need to continue to collaborate, I can use way down here, we can always move it up. I can use Chatter to connect with internal resources. If I need to connect and say, hey, I need additional quote reduction or something like that, we can collaborate in real time, as well as document my activity with these different accounts. So if an internal Cumulus person wants to see, okay, how is this partner interacting with customers? How are they calling them? Are they emailing them? We can see all of that just as we can within our internal Salesforce org. Again, going back, this page can be completely customizable. If there is fields that you do not want on the account page that you don't want your partners to see, that's totally okay. We can remove those, hide those, remove specific actions, editing ability. There's so much flexibility there. So there you have it. I've seen and have everything just about at my fingertips as a partner. I uncovered processes like onboarding, submitting cases, scheduling appointments, really just to drive my productivity as a partner. And I had real-time data and reporting, which provided that data transparency, making sure myself and internal Cumulus employees are all on the same page. And while accessing marketing collateral and engagement content, as well as that artificial intelligence we touched on to really set me up for success, driving that business growth and putting me on the road to becoming that #1 revenue producing partner, as we all want to be. So a good partner relationship is key to channel sales. And I know many of you know that. Eliminating that friction, bringing all of the sales data in one central location so they know what you're doing and you know what they're doing. And having that content, the tools, and really experience that your partners, your resellers, your broker dealers, your distributors, you're a full team, and making them an extension of your sales team. So with that, I know that was a lot in a short amount of time. You're probably saying, this is great, this looks cool, but who's gonna build this? And fortunately, we have our good friend Gil on the line, who is one of our highest regarded implementation partners. And he'll talk a little bit more about his role as a partner and considerations to make when implementing Experience Cloud. So Gil, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing.
Yeah, I'll share my screen too. Jordan, thanks so much. Also, before we jump into Gil's portion, anyone feeling brave, any feedback or questions they want to share on what Jordan just went through? We're here for it. We always like to hear any feedback or comments or questions. Not to put everyone on the spot. All right, that's okay. Gil, I think you can see my screen if you want to take it over.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much, Kat and Jordan. Thanks for that great walkthrough. That was really, really great and super helpful. So appreciate the time you put into that. So again, my name is Gil Lantini. I'm co-founder at Integrated Media Group. And as mentioned earlier, we are a Salesforce partner. Our role is to really bring the software to life for our clients. So, essentially, when you're looking at communities or other products in the Salesforce family, they're giving you the tools that are necessary to really accomplish your goals. And what we do to help clients is essentially build out those tools and customize them, and then provide training and support to help make sure that you're leveraging the tools properly and that you're comfortable using those tools. Communities is something that we work with our clients on. So this is a tool that we frequently implement. So we're seeing a lot of really great use cases and successes within the platform. And really what I wanted to talk about, for a few minutes today is really just how to ensure success if you are going to explore a community. So I've put together, 6 tips essentially, things that you should think about up front as you're looking to build the community, and just some information you'd want to gather prior to starting this process. And that would be helpful both for an implementation partner or working with someone to build this out, as well as internally to get buy-in to make sure that everybody really knows what their role is throughout the process. So when I talk about the 6 tips, so we start with data. So I really think about, who can see what information and when can they see it. So as you're exposing the community or the portal data to your users, really that's an extension of your CRM. So within your CRM, your Sales Cloud or Service Cloud or Financial Services Cloud CRM, you're essentially taking that same data and then exposing that through this portal. So you really want to think through who should be able to see account information versus contact information, who can see leads versus opportunities, or other data within Salesforce. And then within those objects, what fields should they be able to see? So you're able to pick and choose essentially which objects and which fields can be exposed, and also which records. So thinking through, do I only want someone to see records they're assigned to? Do I want people to be able to see all records in the system? So again, it's really important, especially from a privacy standpoint, to have a good understanding and a good handle on what data you're looking to expose, again, from an object and a field standpoint. And then also, should that be read-only data, or is it data that you want people to be able to edit and interact with? So again, thinking through that as kind of the first point, that will help set up so that on the CRM side, you're able to expose all that information through the portal. The next tip here is on the licensing side. So who can access the portal? So one of the things you'll want to think through is who you're going to give access to. And if those users will need permanent access, where you'd want them to be able to log in as frequently or as often as you'd like, or more limited access where maybe people just need to check in every few months and not have full-time access. And ultimately that aligns with how Salesforce licenses out the portal. So really thinking through what the use case would be and what the frequency is of use would help when really trying to determine what the pricing and licensing would look like for the portal licenses. So next we talk about resources. So we talked about data, who can see what and when. We talked licensing, who can access the portal. Then we'll talk about resources. So outside of the data that you're granting access to, what other information is there? So Jordan showed earlier the iPod contest that was going on. Those are graphics that were added to the portal. Ironically, my dog just ate my iPod, my AirPods yesterday. So that one hit too close to home. But essentially, you can add other resources to the portal. So whether it's images and banners, whether it's downloadable resources like onboarding guides and sales material, think of your portal like a website and not necessarily just an extension of CRM data, but provide more value there. So thinking through, again, outside of just CRM data and an extension of what is in Salesforce, what else can you provide to those users so that they can really interact, really make it more of a fun tool to use, but also more of an educational tool and something that provides resources beyond just the data that's in CRM. The fourth tip, we talk about functionality. So what else can you do in the portal? So, we talked about having access to data and whether you can edit that data or not. And we talked about downloading resources, but what other functionality do you want people to have when they log in? So we have some clients that they'll put surveys in their portal, or maybe a poll. So if they want to get feedback or opinions, they'll actually have those built into the portal so that they can actually interact and gather data from their community users. So polls and surveys are definitely popular. as is chat functionality. So Salesforce has a native chatter feed, which is really a way to interact with both internal and external users through the platform. So, do you want the ability to provide some, chat functionality so that users can have that conversation within the system? So again, important to think through what other functionality outside of just, downloading resources and accessing material as well as data. Think of what else you can build in your portal to make it more useful than so that people would continue to use the tool on a more frequent basis. The fifth tip here that I have is testing. So really, you need to know that everything works the way it's planned. So usually what we suggest is having both internal and external test groups. So with the internal test groups, those would be your internal users, people that are accessing and using the CRM the way it is now, and because they're familiar with how your CRM is built out. So having those internal users as a test group, as well as a few select external users, so people that would be power users of the portal, it's great to give them early access and give them an opportunity to use the tool, provide some feedback, and also let you know if there's things that could work better or differently. So again, forming a small test user group of both internal and external users, really important to make sure everything works as you expect it to, and make sure that as you roll this out, that people will be comfortable with the way it functions. And then the last of the 6 tips, training. So how do we make sure that there's adoption and that the launch is successful? So there will be a role of training your users to make sure they're comfortable using the portal. So really giving them a walkthrough of how to access information, talk about the purpose of the portal, really making sure that they know where everything is and what their role is in using the system. So having those, those virtual or in-person walkthroughs of the platform is really important, as well as providing some online recorded sessions that they could refer back to. So even simple things like a video on, logging on and setting up your account the first time, or how to access resources, or how to access certain reports, breaking those out into smaller, more digestible pieces of content through video will give people the resources they need. And ultimately, the more comfortable they are using the tool, the higher adoption rate. I think one of the things we see is that if users aren't comfortable or don't really know what's expected of them using a tool like this, they're just not likely to spend time there. So it's very important to make sure that they're not only part of that testing to provide feedback, but also that they're trained and comfortable using the tool. So again, just to recap quickly here, 6 tips. We talked about data, who can see what and when. Talked about licensing, the frequency of accessing information, and how people access it. Talked about resources, who can see what outside of data, what other downloads are there in the system, and other information. Functionality, what else can it do? Testing, knowing how it works and making sure you're comfortable with how it works. And then training, making sure everybody's comfortable with how the system works and that they're really bought into the process. So those are my 6 tips. Hopefully they're helpful, and I will pass it back to the Salesforce team if there's not any other questions.
Thanks so much, Gil. Yeah, if anyone on the call has any questions about other customers Gil has set up for us, let us know. Again, he's really brought this vision to life, and all of these questions that he went through are things that came directly from our customers' projects. So could not emphasize not only how important it is to evaluate a community cloud experience cloud, but the actual setup as well. I know we're about 10 minutes out actually from the end of the event. I'm all for giving folks time back in the day, but definitely wanted to set up time for any Q&A. So let us know anything that comes to mind, or questions or comments. We would love to hear from you. Anyone feeling brave? Dan, do you have any final questions or comments as we wrap up here? Not to put you on the spot either.
No, I don't. Again, I want to thank everybody for the time here today. We trust and hope that this was valuable. Please, if you do have questions, even if it's just a brainstorm with your account executive and think about how other folks have used this in the past, please don't be a stranger. Please reach out to them directly. And we genuinely appreciate everybody carving out time to take a look at this. There's a good use case in here for the majority of our customers. We just need to have conversations and figure out how it would drive tangible value to your individual business. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, hey, everyone. Thanks again for the time. This has been recorded, so I'll make sure to send this out as a follow-up. And yes, thanks again for the time. We'll circulate the gift cards, as Libby said. Thanks so much. All right. Take care.